shit, yeah, they bread stank. Walk up in the club, dripping like I'm fresh paint. I could see through the facade like an...
What's going on, fight fans? It's another great day when you love MMA. Welcome back to Mad Matty Fight Talk. So UFC 287 literally just wrapped up over there in Miami, Florida. A big fight card, big title fight on the line between Alex Periera and Izzy Adesayna. They fought for the second time. This time Periera is the champion. We also had some other big fights on there. Gilbert Burns versus Jorge Masvidal. The whole main card was just stacked. But before we jump into that, I got to give the prelims a special shout out. I got to give Kelvin Gastelum and Chris Curtis. To me, that was my personal fight of the night. It was the top prelim fight on the fight card. They went at it, man. That was just a wonderful fight to watch. Both these guys showed a great display of heart, really good striking. They were just standing in the pocket and just trading. Both guys landed big shots, so shout out to them. Kelvin Gastelum ended up getting the win in that fight. And then you had Luana Pinheiro versus Michelle Waterson-Gomez. That fight was also pretty electrifying to watch. A little bit, closer of a technical striking battle, but those ladies went at it. Luana, I believe her name is Pinheiro, ended up winning the fight in a split decision. That was also a really, really good fight. Now the main card, let's jump right into the main event. You had Izzy Adesayna trying to get back his title that he lost to Alex Periera last November and ended up doing so in dramatic fashion. Izzy knocked Alex out brutally in a crazy exchange they had against the fence. It looked like Periera thought that he had Izzy hurt pretty bad, came in, started throwing combos to the body, landed a big knee, and then right when he thought he had it in the bag, Izzy just cocked back a 1-2, put it right on the chin, followed up with another punch, and he completely slept Periera. He was out cold for 20 to 30 seconds, landed a big hammer fist on his face right at the end to reclaim his belt. So Izzy Adesayna gets his championship back by a brutal knockout over what I would call his arch nemesis, as he would like to say, because Alex Periera had his number. He was 0-3 against this guy in the combat sports world, 0-1 against him in MMA. So now they're 1-1. So that looms the big question, what's next for Izzy Adesayna? Of course, obviously, congratulations to him. And he wants to live on this. But in the MMA world, there's always contenders coming up, right? He's pretty much cleaned out the division. Now, do you go right back to fighting Alex Periera again, or do you take on another big up-and-comer? Because from the looks of it, it's looking like Khamzat Chimaev is moving up to middleweight and will be one of those top contenders. If I'm Israel, I'm definitely avoiding Khamzat Chimaev at all costs. That is not a good matchup for him. I would either take the rematch against Alex Periera, or I would fight Paulo Costa or somebody who's earned their way back up, but, isn't Khamzat Chimaev. I believe Khamzat is just the worst possible matchup for a guy like Izzy Adesayna or Alex Periera. I think that guy's wrestling is so leaps and bounds above almost everybody's that regardless of the striking differential, which he packs some power as well, Chimaev does, he would be able to get these guys to the ground and he would be able to do some serious work. But anyway, I don't know who's next for Israel yet. I don't think anybody knows who's next. We could potentially see a rubber match between Izzy and Alex Periera for another title fight. That's probably what's going to happen. But regardless, as of today, UFC 287, Izzy Adesayna recaptures his gold belt. It's going back to Auckland, New Zealand. So shout out to him. He got the job done in dramatic fashion. And, made me eat my words. I thought Periera was going to get it done in the third round. Looks like Izzy got it done in brutal fashion. So moving on to the co-main event, we had a big fight as well. Gilbert Burns taking on Jorge Masvidal in a welterweight matchup. Early on in that fight, it was a little bit slow of a start, kind of a filling out process. But you could see Gilbert Burns, once he got the takedown, you could see the grappling difference. The striking was pretty much even in the first round. When you moved to the second round, that's when Gilbert really started taking over the fight, implemented some more grappling, landed some pretty clean shots. Masvidal really just never got started in that fight. I mean, he's a tough dude, had to fight some takedown, use some takedown defense, but Gilbert ultimately would get the fight to the ground where he'd control position, land some shots, and make it a grueling fight for Masvidal. The third round, Gilbert really turned it on and started landing some nasty shots. I believe he dropped Masvidal with an uppercut. That might have been the end of the second or the third round, but dropped Masvidal with an uppercut, ended up taking him down again. It was just not a good fight for Masvidal, but at the end of it, Gilbert Burns wins a unanimous decision, and Jorge Masvidal retires after 20 years in MMA. Now, that's pretty outstanding for a sport that is so brutal on your body. It's actually impressive that somebody can go that long. Now, if I'm Masvidal, man, this guy already has his own boxing promotion. I will probably call out Nick Diaz and try to get a big boxing match set up between himself and Nick Diaz over at Gamebred Boxing. That would sell massive amounts of pay-per-views, considering the fact of how much success they just had with Roy Jones Jr. taking on Anthony Pettis, which Anthony Pettis won, by the way, which is crazy. It was a good fight. The whole fight card was actually good for Gamebred Boxing 4. But yeah, Jorge Masvidal already has stuff going on, man. He doesn't need to continue to fight for the UFC. He's a big household name in the UFC. Obviously, he's a big character, goes by Street Jesus. Dude's been fighting forever, man. That guy's gonna, it's been fun to watch him. It's sad to see him leave, but you can only do the sport so long, and I think he's done it longer than a lot of other people will or have done. So congratulations to him on a great career. Shout out to Gilbert Burns for getting the job done. Now we move a little bit further down the fight card. You had Rob Font taking on Adrian Yanez in a beast of a fight at bantamweight. Two killer 135ers. I really thought Adrian Yanez was going to get the job done, man. That kid's got some nasty hands. Rob Font was kind of on a little bit of a decline. He was on a 2-fight lose streak, but against tough opponents like Jose Aldo and Marlon Chito Vera. Man, you want to talk about a bounce back? These guys came out guns blazing, got into some serious exchanges, and then Rob Font really started picking him apart with the jab, exactly what he said he was going to do. He was following right off of that jab. It was a pretty good fight. They had some good exchanges, but Rob Font ended up getting a brutal knockout over Adrian Yanez. They're calling it a TKO. Yanez wasn't completely out cold, but man, Font folded him with a nasty shot, got on top, landing some bombs. It didn't look like it was going to get any better for Yanez. So, yeah, shout out to Rob Font. Really good job. That was an outstanding fight. I thought, to me, that was also a very high contender for fight of the night. Then we had Kevin Holland taking on Santiago Ponzinibbio. I knew this fight was going to be good. It was a high-level technical striking battle between two really skilled guys, man. These guys were doing a lot of filling out, a lot of trading. Ponzinibbio was landing a lot of solid kicks on Holland. It looked like it was affecting Holland late in the fight. The end of the first round, Holland caught a kick, landed some crazy back punch, freaking drop Ponzinibbio. I thought he was going to knock him out. Later on in the fight, late in the third round, Kevin Holland ended up catching another kick, spinning Ponzinibbio around, sleeping him with the left hook, gets a nasty knockout. It was a good stoppage because he dropped him pretty hard. So Kevin Holland defeats Ponzinibbio by KO of the third round. Called out Masvidal, but Masvidal's retired now. So we're going to see what happens with Kevin Holland. I mean, sky's the limit for that guy. He's a talented fighter. I'm excited to see his next fight as well. Now we move to the main card opener. We had the young phenom, the 18-year-old kid that's extremely hyped up. Everybody was loving this guy when he walked out. Raul Rosas Jr. taking on Christian Rodriguez. This was a great fight for Christian Rodriguez. Raul Rosas Jr. came out guns blazing, went right across the ring, shot him for takedowns. I mean, he started the fight out at a high pace. And I remember when I was learning how to, fight, and when I was getting into mixed martial arts, I was always told, what pace you start at, it only picks up from there. It's not like you start high and start trying to slow it down later. It's like the pace picks up. So you want to start at a decent pace and work your way up. I mean, obviously this kid's a pro, so he knows what he's doing. But man, I think he came out way too hard. Rodriguez showed a lot of composure and a lot of veteran skills. And he's you got a kid taking on a man here, an 18-year-old versus a 25-year-old. Rodriguez was able to settle in, defend the takedowns. He was put in some bad positions. Rosas Jr. was trying to finish this fight in the first round. I strongly believe that because he was tired in the second round. And then he was really tired in the third round. Christian Rodriguez ended up doing kind of whatever he wanted to him later in the fight. The third round, he completely dominated. Rodriguez ended up winning a unanimous decision over Rosas Jr. Now, Rosas Jr.'s stock's not going to drop, man. The kid's 18, and he's 7-1. Great record. This is a learning experience. You can't fight every fight like that. You know what I mean? You can't come out and just think you're going to out-grapple everybody, take him to the mat and submit him, which he's done a lot. He's going to learn from this. He's going to bounce back. But Christian Rodriguez, what a big win for him to stop the hype train dead in its tracks. And this kid's got an 8-1 record himself. I believe he's 9-1 now. He's either 8-1 or 9-1. That's a great record, man. This kid's going to keep moving up the chain as well. Really solid fight for him. Took on a strong grappler and showed dominant skills later in the fight. Cardio was on point for that fight. Yeah, man, so that's it for the UFC 287 main card. Another big fight that was on the prelims, too. Might as well throw that in there. Joe Pyfer defeats Gerald Meerschaert. First round TKO. It was not a good fight, man. Gerald had a chin high up in the air. Once he got caught, it was kind of over. So shout out to Joe Pyfer getting the job done. Went from homeless to being a freaking UFC fighter. So pretty dope, man. I love stories like that. Anyway, guys, Thanks for checking out my video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you guys thought about this crazy ass fight card. Man, every time they go to Miami, something crazy happens. Last time they went to Florida, I don't think it was Miami, but last time they were in Florida, Chris Weidman snapped his leg in half. Kamaru Usman brutally knocked out Masvidal. Then they go to Miami. Izzy knocks out Periera. Masvidal retires. It's crazy, man. You know, hit me in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. But thanks, guys, for always supporting. I love you. See you on the next one.
Haters talking shit, yeah, they breath stank. Walk up in the club, dripping like I'm fresh paint. I can see through the facade like an